In this video we're going to look at the pre-construction processes. When a contractor wins a contract to do construction, they don't get to go straight on site and start doing the construction. There are a whole lot of things that have to be done before you're able to go on site and start doing the construction work. So there's the contract award. So you'll recall that that's the contractor receives the letter of acceptance saying that they've been successful in their tendering process and they been awarded the contract, and so now they are the contractor. They have an obligation to build the contract works as shown in the contract documents that they've won. So the minute you get that letter, you're really quite busy. There are several things to be done. There's the planning. You need to, now you would have done quite a lot of planning, the contractor would have done a lot of planning during the tendering stage, would have figured out the methodology in general, the resources they'd need, and the costs of those resources, how much time when they're going to come on site, the timing, all that sort of business, because that's what you need to do to be able to put a price together. But what you'll be doing is you'll be pulling that information out and you'll be re-looking at it, and you'd saying what resources have we got available. You'd be starting to implement that plan, that the methodology that you had developed in the tendering, and you'll be refining it to reflect your current state of affairs. There are also management plans you need to put together. There'll be a traffic management plan, a safety plan, a environmental protection plan. So there's all sorts of management plans that need to be put together. You've got to figure out how your site's going to be laid out. So that's all the planning before you even establish on site. In addition, there's the contractual things. There is the signing of the contract document. The consultant will put together the contract document, needs to be signed. The contractor needs to start up a contract file because he's got a new project. Need to get the bonds and insurances in place. You'll recall that the bonds and insurances are usually required to be in place before you can start establishing on site. And there's usually a setup meeting, and that setup meeting, that is when the contractor, the client, the consultant all get together in one room and talk about what they're going to do, what the hazards are, how they're going to be controlling them, communication between the different parties, what issues are going to arise, is there going to be community problems, environmental protection, what's going to happen, contacts in case of emergencies, all that sort of stuff. So basically setting it all up, everyone on the same page agreeing how that work is going to proceed. Once you've done all that, or probably at the same time as you're doing that, you establish on site. So once you've got the bonds and insurances in place, and you've satisfied all the other requirements of the contract, the engineer will issue a letter saying you now have possession of the site, which means you are allowed to move on to site. You're not allowed on site before the engineer has told you that you're allowed to do that. So once you do that, you want to establish pretty quickly. So you need to get access to the site from a public road, because you're going to be bringing trucks in, materials in. You need access to the public road system. The site facilities, the things that you need to operate it, so there'll be site offices being established, there'd be the lunch rooms, water supplies, power, the whole thing. So basically you've got to set up an office and work area for the site. And then you need to establish the plant and equipment. Most engineering, civil engineering plant and equipment has to be brought to site by truck. The only things that can be go on public roads are trucks, but things like excavators and loaders and moxies, which are earthworks trucks, they all have to be transported to site by truck. So once you've established yourself on site, you've got access to you've got a site access, you've got site facilities, you've set yourself up, then you are allowed to start on the preliminary works. That means you set out the works, or you do the first lot of the setting out. You identify existing services before you start digging. You would put a silt control system in place, so erosion and sediment control. before you even start disturbing the ground, you should at least have silt fences or something like that, so that when you do start disturbing the ground, and if it rains, you're not going to get silt going into the local water system. And then once you've got the silt control in place, then you can start doing the site clearance. So that means removing the trees, shrubs, topsoil, grass, any structures that need to be demolished, all of those sort of things. So at the end of this process here, you've got hopefully a site that's sort of been taken right back to the bare clay, ready to start the actual construction work.